ordinary in quality. It's just okay.
Unquenchable. Avid. Formulate. Disposition.
Your disposition is your personality, the way you tend to react to the various events in your
Disposition. Fluctuate. Naive. Tenacious.
A tenacious person does not quit until they finish what they've started.
patronize, patronize, interim,
An interim position at a school or business is only temporary. It lasts
interim, patronize, predecessor, rectify,
when you rectify something, you correct it or make it right once more.
rectify, interim, conventional, rectify,
When you rectify something, you correct it or make it
plight,
If you are in a plight, you are in trouble of some kind.
impenetrable, satire, regime, moderate, formative, formative, dissension, dissension, animated, conjecture,
A conjecture is a theory or guess that is based on information that is not certain.
conjecture, Rationale.
A ration.
Impoverished. Generic.
A generic description or attribute is not specific to any one thing, but applies to all members of an entire class or
Fidelity.
fidelity towards something, such as a marriage or promise, is faithfulness.
Fidelity. Genre. Cordial. Cordial. Laborious.
A laborious job or process.
Adversary. Adversary. Cordial. Predicament.
If you are in a predicament, you are in a difficult.
Predicament. Artifact. Unsurpassed.
If you are
Unsurpassed. Predicament. Dispel. Dispel. Norm.
a social.
Norm.
Utopia is a perfect place.
Utopia. Communal. Communal. Senile.
An aged person who is senile.
Senile. Concise. Concise. Senile. Gratification.
When you have
Morale.
A person's morale is their current state of self-confidence, how they feel emotionally, and how motivated they are to complete tasks.
Morale. Impending.
an impending event is approaching fast or is about to occur. This word usually has a negative implication, referring to something
Impending. Consensus.
when a group of people
Consensus. Justification. Sovereign. Sanction.
A sanction is an official approval to do something. It may be a showing of support or acceptance for something, or it may officially support a punishment or restriction in response.
Sanction. Credible. Dubious. Adversity.
If you
Adversity. Deficit. Unsurpassed. Terrestrial. Subtle. Arbitrary. Novice. Judicious. Potency.
Something's potency is
Belligerent. Memorandum.
a memorandum is a short note that
Chronological. Purge.
to purge something is to get rid of or remove it.
Purge. Implicit. Patronize. Temperance.
fruitless effort at doing something.
Fruitless. Interim. Convene.
People convene.
Convene. Dominion.
When one country has dominion.
Dominion. Traverse. Nurture. Sedentary.
Someone who has a sedentary habit.
Sedentary. Perilous. Constrain.
When you are
Longevity.
Longevity is the
Longevity. Egotistical.
an
Egotistical. Longevity. remnant, remnant, surge,
When something surges, it rapidly
surge, notorious, viable, luminous, contemporary,
slaves dig the earth for beautiful gems called quartz. Which in faraway lands, slaves dig the earth for beautiful gems called quartz, which contain silicon dioxide. Alchemists or chemical engineers then refine and cook them into silicon substrate, a material that can be doped to act as both a conductor and insulator. Shamans, also known as electrical engineers, then inscribe billions of microscopic symbols on into silicon substrate, a material that can be doped to act as both a conductor and insulator. Shamans, also known as electrical engineers, then inscribe billions of microscopic symbols on them that can't be seen with the naked eye. When lightning passes through them, they can speak the incomprehensible language of binary. Highly trained wizards called software engineers can learn this language to build powerful machines that create illusions. These illusions can then control the way people think and act in the real world. In today's illusion, I will harness this magic to pull back the veil on the Almighty and act and to build them. In faraway lands, slaves dig the earth for beautiful gems called quartz, which contain silicon dioxide. Alchemists or chemical engineers then refine and cook them into silicon substrate, a material that can be doped to act as both a conductor and insulator. Shamans, also known as electrical engineers, then inscribe billions of microscopic symbols on them that can't be seen with the naked eye. When lightning passes through them, they can speak the incomprehensible language of binary. Highly trained wizards called software engineers can learn this language to build powerful machines that create illusions. These illusions can then control the way people think and act in the real world. In today's illusion, I will harness this magic to pull back the veil on the almighty computer by looking at 4 different ways computers actually compute things at the hardware level. Because to boot, a computer needs a PU. Like a CPU, GPU, TPU, or DPU. The last 100 years have been crazy. The first truly programmable computer was the Z1, which was created by Conrad Zuse in 1936 in his mom's basement. But the computer was the Z1, which was created by Conrad Zuse in 1936 in his mom's basement. But then it got blown up in 1943 during the bombardment of Berlin. It's entirely mechanical with over 20,000 parts. It represents binary data with sliding metal sheets. It could do things like Boolean algebra and floating point numbers, and had a clock rate of 1 Hz, which means it could execute 1 instruction per second. To put that in perspective, modern CPUs are measured in gigahertz, or billions of cycles per second. Over the next 10 years, people thought really hard about how computers should actually work, and in 1945 we got the von Neumann architecture, which is still used in modern chips today. It's the foundational design that describes how data and instructions are stored in the same memory space, then handled by a processing unit. A couple years later, there is a huge breakthrough with the invention of the transistor, which is a semiconductor that can amplify or switch electrical signals. Like a transistor could represent a 1 if current passes through it, or a 0 if current doesn't pass through it. This was a huge leap forward. Then in 1958, the integrated circuit was developed, allowing multiple transistors to be placed on a single silicon chip. Then finally in 1971, Intel released the first commercially available microprocessor that had all the features you know and love from a modern CPU. It was a 4-bit processor, meaning it could handle 4 bits of data at a time with approximately 2,300 transistors. The clock speed was 740 kilohertz, which was extremely fast at the time. CPUs are pretty complicated, and if you really want to learn how they work, I'd highly recommend reading cpu.lang. command, which does an amazing job of breaking down how they actually execute programs. It's totally free and was written by high schoolers Lexi-Matic and Hack Club, but what I want to focus on is what they're actually used for, so we can compare them to the other PUs. Like its name implies, the central processing unit is like the brain of a computer. It runs the operating system, executes programs, and manages hardware. It has access to the system's RAM and includes a hierarchy of caches on the chip itself for faster data retrieval. A CPU is optimized for sequential computations that require extensive branching and logic. Like imagine some navigation software that needs to run an algorithm to compute the shortest possible route between 2 points. The algorithm may have a lot of conditional logic like if-else statements that can only be computed one by one or sequentially. A CPU is optimized for this type of work. Now, modern CPUs also have multiple cores, which allows them to do work in parallel, which allows you to use multiple applications on your PC at the same time. And programmers can write code that does multi-threading to utilize the cores on your machine to run code in parallel. Check out this video on my second channel if you want to learn how to do that in JavaScript. Now, to make a computer faster, one might think we could just add more and more CPU cores. The reality, though, is that CPU cores are expensive. As the cores scale up, so does power consumption and the heat dissipation requirements. It becomes a matter of diminishing returns and the extra complexity